Hey, it's Williee Armellini from Flowers and Scents with your industry buzz. Today, we're going to interview Augusto Solano. Augusto is the president of Asocolflores, which is the Association of Flower Growers of Colombia. So without further ado, allow me to introduce Augusto Solano. So greetings, sir, and why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up at Asocolflores?
Hi, Willie. Glad to see you again.
My pleasure.
Well, I'm an industrial engineer, and I have an MBA from the Wharton School. I have worked in the past as a CEO of a major sugar mill. I've worked in banking in New York, in banking in Colombia. Also, I had some experience in the printing industry and in publishing with a company that was a joint venture between a Colombian company and an Italian publisher called Mondadori. So it's a very diverse experience. I am also a member of the board of trustees of a business college in my hometown, Cali. And right now I am the chairman of the board of the SECODES, which is the Colombian chapter of the World Business Council for Sustainable Development. I'm also a member of the board of the largest pension fund in Colombia called Porvenir. So very diverse and different activities.
Yeah, well qualified for this job, I think, even though you didn't know what you were getting into. But how'd you end up at Asocolflores?
Well, this is kind of a story of serendipity. Somehow, someone asked a friend of mine who was in the government at that point to if he knew someone that can be suitable for the position at with Asocolflores. He said, "Yes, I think I know someone who and then he introduced me to him. I had the interviews, and I was new to the industry. I didn't know much about the industry, but we thought there was a fit because they were looking for someone that was not involved in the flower industry because of conflict of interest. That has been the case with all the presidents in Asocolflores, but they thought my international exposure, my experience with agribusiness, also the Sugarcane Association is very strong. I was a member of the Sugarcane Association for a long time, and at some point I even was a chairman of the board. So this whole experience, they thought it was suitable for what they were looking for, and I thought it was a great challenge. I wanted to learn more about the industry. So I joined in 2000, November 2000, long time ago.
20 years ago. Okay, well, and I'm sure that was an interesting time. 2000. There's been a lot of calamities, perhaps, between 2000 and now. So you've lived through them all, perhaps.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that I had also some experience with the government, and I think it was also a point that the members of the board of the committee that was making the selection had into account. Yeah, I joined in November, and I was learning about the industry. I went to Miami. I visited some of the facilities of USA Floral and some other people, and suddenly, just around the corner, and after Valentine's, USA Floral filed for bankruptcy. Big surprise. And that was a huge disruption in the market, something that lasted for some time. So it was quite a big surprise. You know, flowers were offered after that. Flowers were offered several times. So there was, I wouldn't say an oversupply, but the over offering of the same flowers. So that disrupted the market. At that time, we were planning for the first Proflora in Cartagena. I haven't been to any Proflora, and this was even going to be the first one in Cartagena. And when we were working very hard on that, 9/11 happened. another surprise. That was crazy. And remember, SAF canceled their convention in Maui.
Yep.
We didn't know what to do. Should we cancel Proflora? Shouldn't we? I barely knew Peter Moran. I decided to talk with him, discuss it, and then we decided to go ahead. And that Proflora was a success, and the following Profloras as well. So that was a very difficult year. 2 years after that, then we had the period of appreciation of the peso or devaluation of the dollar. 10 years of that. That affected the industry very badly, and some companies disappeared, and some companies had to uh, become smaller, downsize their operations, and well, just after that, we started to recover. And
I
then
don't think
we have this. We
many
have this
people,
now.
and probably not a lot of people really understand the devaluation, what effect that had on the growers. Obviously, growers get paid in dollars for the most part, or euros or whatever. So it's been a real challenge for you, for the growers. Right?
Yes, definitely, because when you have an appreciation of your currency or the devaluation of the currency in your markets, uh, you have to try to cut your costs, and some of the costs are very difficult to manage, like labor, and labor is over 50% of all our costs, because labor you cannot substitute for imported labor. You cannot pay below the legal amount, and so is a very rigid part. So is extremely difficult. That was extremely challenging, but also Asocolflores played a great role in helping the growers, the members, to manage this. Not all of them were able to survive, but a lot of them, and I would say the whole industry, because of what we did at that time.
What percentage of the growers does Asocolflores represent?
Well, right now, I think we are close to 60% of the exports. We measure it by the exports because, it's not the same a 5 hectares farm and 100 hectares farm. But also, so we're close to 60%. But we also have a lot of small members, small growers. And now we brought some smallholders. We're trying to help them with best practices. They don't export. They are very small growers in some other parts of the country, and we're trying to help them for the domestic market.
Sure. Okay. Uh, and so, how are your members doing? What's part of with COVID? Obviously, there's many a challenge.
Well, again, this has been extremely challenging. I would say that the flower industry in Colombia was the first one to feel the effect of the COVID-19 this year, even before the disease appeared in the country, because we have markets, we have customers in China and Japan, and since early in the year, they started to cancel the orders. Even the Japanese, then the Europeans, the whole European market closed, then the wholesalers in the US, and so it was really difficult because of the demand. We didn't have demand for the flowers, and we had to destroy the flowers. Many of them had to destroy the flowers, and not only that, you cannot sell the flowers, but you have an extra cost to destroy the flowers.
Sure.
So it's really difficult. The one part of the market that remained and more or less stable, I would say stable, was the supermarkets in the United States.
Right.
We're glad because 80% of our sales go to the United States, and supermarkets are very important. Colombia sells to 100 countries, but the US is 80% of that share. So
Yeah.
that was extremely difficult, especially some weeks in March, in April, and then fortunately Mother's Day was recovering, and Mother's Day, I would say, in general, was good in the United States, not so much in Europe. It was good in Japan. The problem is that at some point we didn't have demand, and sometimes when we had the demand, the orders, we had transportation problems
Logistics.
because capacity was smaller and also the cost increased. You know, about 50% of the cargo in the world is goes in passenger flights, in the bellies of the passenger flights. And nowadays, only 10% of the passenger flights are active.
Yeah.
So there is only the cargo working. So that's a real challenge because you don't have all the routes. You don't have, or it's very expensive, or you don't have the route, or you don't have the capacity. To some markets like Australia, we have a small market in Australia. We couldn't export there because the cost of the freight triple or quadruple at some point. Now things are becoming more stable and more normal, fortunately.
Yeah, we see that. I just did a little poll for wholesale florists in the U.S. And got 50 or so, 60 responses so far. And I basically just asked, what was your compared to last year? Where are you? You even, above, below? And interestingly enough, a number of the respondents said, "Hey, we're above. We're up 20%. We're up 30%." Now, conversely, we had some saying they were down equally. So it sort of spread out. It seems like the wholesalers that were in markets where maybe their competitor closed are doing better. Again, I try to stay out of the politics of that, but anyway, you had to make a decision: are you going to stay open or not? Obviously, the supermarkets, because of their food and the availability to be able to go get food, you could get flowers as well. So that really gave that door, left that door open. And so, all wholesalers are starting to come back, it appears, and some are doing quite well.
Yeah, the same thing has happened here in the sense that the pandemic has affected growers in different ways, depending which market you're in or in which channel. I think one of the most affected ones is the one related to events. You know, weddings, conventions, the proms, and everything. That's something that almost disappeared at some point, and
Yeah.
all the chain related with that has been affected. But some of the demand is coming back even stronger. People didn't go on vacation, and they're staying home. It's great to hear that they feel flowers is something they need, they would like to buy, and that's something we're taking into account in the meetings we have of all the floral associations, and there is an opportunity there, at
Yeah,
least to replace all this.
Mother's Day actually turned out quite well. I think the pent-up demand, people needed something to do. They were home, so let's send mother or my girlfriend or your wife some flowers, and it really gave a big boost to the industry.
Yeah, and it was great because everything was sold, as we heard. As Becky said, they took even the dust from the supermarkets, but also more than that, demand lasted beyond Mother's Day.
Right.
Like 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks was very strong. And on top of that, even Kate said at some point that some of the florist shops accepted orders for Monday or Tuesday after Mother's Day. So because they couldn't deliver before, so that was great. I know it's been a challenge for everyone. Less labor available in the U.S. in the market, in the distribution chain, and everything, but we're managing somehow, and I think we're getting a more united industry. And we have to change some things, of course, but the main thing is if we keep working together.
Yeah, and I think the growers, from what I've seen, have everybody sort of working together, and everybody's in the same boat. So you know, making it successful and getting back into production, I know is difficult because now you have COVID. You know, the buses are half full, I would imagine, going to the farms. A lot of people supply that transportation to the farms, and now it's you got to do 2 trips, I guess.
Yes, the key for our growers, the main thing is that we in Asocolflores, given the close relationship we had with the government and we were ready, we reacted immediately. We were able to get an exception to operate continuously. So that was the key thing. And that's important and that's special because we don't belong to the food chain. We're not considered essential and everything else was closed, but we were able to be among those exceptions. So we were able to work. We were able to take our workers to the farms and the flowers to the airport. But even that was not enough because what about the suppliers? You need the packaging, you need the agrochemicals, you need the plant material, you need many other things. And of course, we were covered by the national government rules or regulations, but then we operate in close to 40 municipalities in the country. And, you know, I think this happened to you also in the US. Then the local governments, they want to do their own things. They want to have their own interpretation of things, and they wanted to stop our operations. Fortunately, also, we have a good relationship with these levels, and we were able to solve those problems. But the main thing behind is that also since the very beginning, we established a very strict, strong protocol for the farms. This was costly for the farms because, for example, transportation doubled because buses were used at half capacity. And then you had to create new facilities, adapt your facilities, and buy health material, many things. And given that we're a labor-intensive industry, this means in Colombia, on average, we generate 14 jobs per hectare. The next product is like 2, 1, less than 1, coffee, palm oil, sugar cane, potato. It's much lower, but we're very high there. So protection was key, was very difficult, but we were successful. And that was very good because when the government came later with the official protocols, our protocol was perfect. I mean, was even more strict than what they had. So that has been the key to this and being able to operate all the time. So I would say, again, something like this saved the industry.
Well, you have such a huge population of people that work, the women that work at the farm, the men that work at the farms, like you say, 14 per hectare. That's a lot of people in a big farm. Whereas we know some farms employ thousands of employees, so it's a big percentage of your workforce.
Right. Yeah, we're talking about 150,000 people, direct and indirect jobs. All of them are formal. This means that they have social security, they have everything. And this is in Colombia is special because on average in the country, only 50% of the workers are formal. The other ones, they don't have contracts or anything. So this has been special, but we also somehow we had to take the message not only to the workers themselves and at the workplace, at their homes, because if they go back and they don't behave well or they don't take care of themselves, they will bring the disease to the farms. So it's a whole strategy, a whole effort that has been successful. But again, this proves that it's important to have an association that can act in like this.
Yeah, a perfect time to have a mature organization like Asocolflores to sort of help smooth out the bumps in the road, because you have connections with the government, you're close to the government, like you say, you're working with the mayors at the local level, because as we know, like some of these little towns, a lot of the people in the town work for a farm or different farms. So I mean, it's a big part of their life.
Yes, as we say, having a strong and effective association is like an insurance, a long-term insurance. You can look at an association like this for something on a daily basis. Of course, we do many things on a daily basis, but this is really important when these huge, unpredictable events like this happen, that you can react quickly and solve it. And fortunately, we've seen that everyone has appreciated this, because even though Asocolflores doesn't have all the growers as members, we work for the whole industry. What we do benefits everyone in the industry. And I think, again, this time, everyone has valued that. We have received very good comments from, of course, our members and even non-members, and we're getting no members. Some people are coming back, so we're very glad, and we hope others do so.
Augusto, what's life like in Bogota? You're back in Bogota now, I guess, and people wearing masks and social distancing and doing all that stuff that we're trying to do here in America.
Yes, right now is difficult in Bogota. Bogota is increasing the active people contagion, and deaths are up. We're getting to the peak, so we are in quarantine, but at the same time, the government has tried to open part of the economy, because it's very difficult for the government. Everybody has to wear a mask, and also the mayor here established the system that not everyone can go to supermarkets or drugstores. It depends on your social security number. If it ends in an odd number or even number, then it's alternate days. This is crazy. It seems crazy, but it was more crazy before, because at some point it was a gender thing. It was one day for women and one day for men. So that was crazy, really. And now this one is a little bit, but this is to get less people in those places.
Sure, it's Colombia's version of Plica Placa, right?
Yeah, the pico placa for people, not for cars. Yeah, exactly. It's called like that. It's pico and cédula. It's pico and social security. is unbelievable. And they allow just a certain number of people in each supermarket or drugstore, and restaurants are closed. Also, hotels are closed. We don't have flights. We don't have domestic flights. We don't have international flights. We're expected to have international flights again in September 1st. But I think it will depend on how the disease behaves here.
And
the government has been doing a great effort. Huh?
Yeah, and depends on where they're coming from too. Obviously, right at the moment they don't.
Of course,
most people don't want Americans. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, I have perhaps one more question about ProFlora 2021. You got lucky, so you didn't have it this year, so.
Yes. We had a great ProFlora last year, and we are already working for the next one in 2021. It's going to be start Wednesday, September 29 until Friday, October the 1st. And it's going to be a special one because it's our 30th anniversary of ProFlora. So we have big celebration. If we know about parties, you can think what party is going to be this one. Don't miss it. It was 30 years ago, yes, when ProFlora started. It was quite an adventure in a venue that was fit for cattle or something like that. That's what I've heard. Yeah, something crazy. But we've been able to have a better ProFlora every time. So we're working on that and hope. By that time, everything is back to normal and the industry can be again strong and dynamic, and maybe this pandemic can bring us together and working together We've been meeting with the floral associations of the U.S. At the beginning, we were meeting, we call it the summit, and we were meeting every week. Can you believe it? Every Thursday, then every other Thursday, and now every 3 weeks or so. But we keep in touch, and we have some plans, and we share things, and that's important for the industry. Yes.
Well, as my father told me many times, he said, hey, the flower business is pretty resilient. You know, he's going back to 1945 and all the different things that have happened since 1945. And, you know, he said, inevitably, people get married, people die, people like flowers. So there's a need for flowers. And now we have all this research that shows us how good it makes us feel. And I'm happy to have flowers in my house. So it's been a good thing for me. I think I've told people that I used to get, you know, I can go get flowers for free if I want them. But I felt I got much more value by saying to my wife, go buy flowers when you're at the supermarket and come home with some flowers. And frankly, we've, you know, there was more value in them at that point. So we felt good about it and still do. So, hey, well, I appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man. I appreciate you giving me this interview, and I will talk to you as soon as I get this all edited out. And I thank you for your time, and you have a nice afternoon, sir.
Thank you very much, Willie, for this opportunity, and special greetings to all your loyal audience. Thank you very much.
All right. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.